Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and today I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Today, just me and you, covering Season 1, Episode 5, titled The Wolf and the Lion. It was originally aired on May 15th, 2011, written by D&D and directed by Brian Kirk. And I'm not going to lie, man. This is a top-tier episode of Season 1 and maybe of the series as a whole.
You know, we said that last week is when it really hit its stride, and this is like, all right, this is Game of Thrones. This is where it starts, you know. It's we're going now. We're picking up speed. This is just was a top tier, full tier Game of Thrones episode. Like this was like in the style. It felt even like I don't think they've completely found the style of Game of Thrones yet. Still, like I still think that just comes later in the later seasons. But like probably like season 2, really. But like it's more like it though. This episode, really can stand on its own. I don't know. It was definitely my favorite of the season so far.
I just found that when I was thinking back to what I've been expecting over the last 4 weeks, like certain events, certain things that happen, a lot of them happened in this episode. And I didn't realize that. Like looking back, what I remember about season 1 when I'm far removed from it is a lot of the stuff that happens here. I thought Arya hears that conversation between Varys and Illyrio, like in one of the first couple episodes. I thought the Hound cutting the horse's head off was in like episode 2. I thought fucking Ned versus Jaime, I thought that was a little earlier. Like I was blown away by how much happens in this episode that I just remember as being the beginning of Game of Thrones, and with reason, you know, like it is full tilt now. We are rolling.
The Wolf and the Lion.
The Wolf and the Lion. And what a fucking goodie it was. Are you ready for something of a scene-by-scene breakdown?
Oh, I'm ready.
Alrighty, so we begin this episode up in the Vale. Well, we begin it in King's Landing, but I'm going to start in the Vale, where Tyrion has his blindfold removed and finds that his crew, with a bunch of knights and Bronn, are all coming from the inn at the crossroads. They're on the eastern road, heading towards the Vale of the Arryn. And Catelyn have been saying that they were riding for Winterfell. You know, told everyone along the way, we're heading to Winterfell. Said it off. You know, he's like, this isn't the way to Winterfell. Ah, yes, I told them Winterfell, but I said that often and loud. And they were like, and he's like, okay, Catelyn, I see you, boo. That was a strong opening to this episode, or strong opening to this story with Catelyn. I was like, okay, she ain't fucking around. And
that was badass. She was like, yeah, that's what I said I was gonna do. I don't know. She was, and I don't know. Just Tyrion is never in, like, I guess, like in immediate danger. Sure, whenever a bunch of people are charging at him with swords, whatever. But like he, other than that, he's like never assuming that he's in danger whatsoever. He's like so safe, like in every situation. He's like, I'm a Lannister. Like they can't touch me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that or if it's just that's how he is. If it's just a Lannister thing, like my brother is Jaime. Like he says that to people. I don't know if it's just maybe like a front he's putting on, like to.
Nah, I take it that he's very confident that people just can't afford to fight with the Lannisters. Like the Lannisters will crush them. It's
That's
just a fact.
true.
It's just a fact. Like if they were to do anything to Tyrion, there would be retaliation from the throne. He is the queen's brother. You know what I'm saying? Like he basically has immunity to do whatever he wants.
That's
And
fair.
I think that's kind of how he's approaching it. Is that like y'all can throw me in a cell, y'all can do whatever. I know y'all won't kill me though. Like I'm safe as fuck like that. But yeah, he's like, good job, Cat. That's some good shit. That's very smart. And he points out again that his father will give out a handsome reward for his safe return. And Bronn's like, oh, is that right? No kid.
Yeah, what's
Lily.
up with that?
Yet
Lannister
another
always pays
mention.
their debts.
Yes, they do. And yet another mention of the enigmatic figure that is Tywin Lannister, who we have yet to lay eyes on in the show, but has been mentioned several times.
When's his first appearance?
It's coming up. It's before the end of season 1. I feel like it's like episode 7 or something for some reason.
I wonder, let's see.
I think it's once the war.
A golden crown is next episode. That could be Viserys getting his golden crown, and it could be the Lannister introduction. I could see that. Baylor?
Baylor? That's where Ned gets his head cut off, is the Sept of Baylor.
That's insane to me that's not the finale. Every time I hear it, it's insane to me that's not the finale.
No, that's the end of the.
I know,
end of the
that's
penultimate.
insane to me.
But the finale is the one where she emerges from the fire.
When Dany. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the finale.
Okay. But I swear, every time I remember the end of season 1, I swear the end all cut to black was Ned getting his head sliced.
Yeah. No.
I don't know why.
Man, I can't wait to get there. Because I got so much to say about that. Because just like first viewings and stuff, it's so special. But man, nevertheless, Tyrion says that Lady Lysa Arryn, he asks Catelyn, when was the last time you saw your sister? And she's like, I don't know, it's been a good 5 years. Tyrion goes, she's changed. Like, no matter how you think you knew your sister, she is different now.
5 years? Oh, yeah. She's changed.
Yeah, she's different.
Yeah, and I see why.
Yeah, man, she's apparently gone mad since her husband's death. And he's like, I'm safe, but if there's anyone who will just kill me, it's her.
Or the steed.
Yes. He demands his innocence be known in the attempt of Bran's life, and points out that he's like, okay, so let me ask you this. Why on earth would I arm an assassin with my own blade? What the fuck is that? And Sir Roger's like, you'll be quiet now. He's like, oh, am I starting to make sense? Yeah.
Like, damn, you're right. That does make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, they're like, God damn, yeah, he must be getting that frame.
Damn, I guess you're smarter than I thought.
Man, that's what's kind of interesting about the storyline, is the way he is truly persecuted for being an imp. Like, if he was not the imp, they'd probably be like, yeah, you know what? It's not very likely. I feel like he's just getting judged.
Yeah.
Because he's Tyrion the imp. It's his fucking rep that he would do something so sick and twisted.
Yeah, and why would the queen? Why would they be like the queen or Jaime? Like, out of nowhere.
I don't know. But
damn, that's
man.
Poor Tyrion.
Poor Tyrion, man. He goes through it before he really gets it good, when he has it made. This man becomes the hand of the queen to Daenerys Targaryen. Just remember that.
Damn.
Like, as you're watching this now, it's like, God, I remember, like, how did we get here? It's just so fucking good. But
yeah, I just saw on Twitter the script reading of Jon
season 8.
Yeah. John doing the deed at the end, and seeing Kit Harington's reaction, like to the live script reading. It's insane. Like where we go. Like
it's just absurd. But before Catelyn can give him an answer about how, is he starting to make sense, the party comes under attack from one of the hill tribes, and shit really goes bad. Tyrion is forced to go to Catelyn and be like, "Cut me out. I'm no use to you if I fucking die here. So go ahead, cut me free. We'll figure this out." He decides he's going to grab a shield and try to run, but as soon as he sees a woman go for Catelyn's life, he saves her by chopping this man at the knee and then bludgeoning his face with the shield continuously.
Pretty badass. He was really thinking about leaving there. He was like, I see those horses. Maybe he was like, man, it's really hard for me to climb up on a horse. I don't really have much, because I don't know. It's hard for a normal human to do that, Like climbing up on a horse.
Regular sized.
I did that. I've tried that once in my life. I will never take that seeing how people get on horses in movies, how effortless they just hop up there. That's insane. And maybe I'm just I guess I am short, but like still, horses are big as fuck, dude.
It takes a leaping ability that's impressive.
Like that's insane. Weird side tangent. But like, I don't know, it was really cool like seeing him debate the choices and being like, no, I really need to, I can't do this. Yeah. I really got to stab this guy with the shield.
The best way to prove his innocence is if his original accuser is like, yeah, I don't see why he'd do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's done a lot for me since, saved my life and stuff. I guess it doesn't really make sense for him to have been the one who tried to kill my son. But yeah, there's a lot of plus sides to saving Catelyn's life. And after this, the way Bronn was like, "Is that your first?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You need a woman. Nothing like a woman after a fight." I'm down if she is.
God, man, this show is it's just so men. I don't know, It's men. Just like there's no woman in thought during the writing process. No George just didn't he has no he's not in touch with his feminine side, you could say.
Nah, probably not. Probably not. It doesn't strike me as the type of fellow to be. But this part is also where we get the iconic line from Bronn that I think Tyrion eventually says in regards to Casterly Rock with the Unsullied. He's like, as a good friend of mine once said, "Give me 10 good men and I'll impregnate the bitch."
Tyrion says that about Casterly Rock?
You remember the montage in like season 7, I guess, when the Lannisters go and take Highgarden, and that's where he kills Olenna Tyrell. And she's like, "Tell Cersei, I want her to know it was me." The only reason they could get there unhindered is because they thought they were posted up at Casterly Rock. The Lannisters did what Robb does to them here in about a season. They decoyed their home base, and the Unsullied stormed there. Tyrion was like, "I know this place better than anybody. I grew up here." So, and they're like, "They say Casterly Rock is impenetrable, but give me 10 good men and some climbing sticks, and I'll impregnate the bitch."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then
this Grey line Worm felt familiar. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know. It felt like a something, or maybe just I remembered just Bronn. Just I don't know. It's just one of the most.
It's a pretty iconic lines. It's a pretty iconic line.
Yeah. I don't know, because for a second I'm like, wait a minute, did he climb the wall like with that one group? And I'm like, no, Bronn didn't make it out to the wall. I'm like, no, he didn't make it up there.
No, he didn't.
But
give me 10 good men and I'll impregnate the bitch. God damn.
Gotta love Bronn.
Gotta love Bronn. But in the high hall of the Eyrie, Lady Lysa Arryn holds court. on behalf of her son, Robin. And as soon as we see them, we see Robin just going ahead and sucking away at Lady Lysa's titty. And she's not hesitating in the meantime to go ahead and let everybody witness and yell at Kat. You know, she's furious that she's brought Tyrion here, endangered all of them by bringing him to the Vale. And Tyrion's like, yeah, I mean, sure, but, you know, if I'm hurt, there will be war with House Lannister. Like, y'all are fucked if I get hurt. And Lysa's like, I don't give a fuck. The Vale is impregnable. As Bronn would beg to differ, but she's like, you can't fuck with this place. You know we got it. And Robin's like, well, he's not the bad man. Unlatches long enough to ask if he can send this guy through the fucking giant
Trap
hole
door.
in the middle of the room.
Did they have a name for it? I don't think
it's
not. It wasn't said this episode.
He says, I want to see the bad man fly.
I feel like they say, like, open the ba 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 ba, or, you know.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember, but yeah, they definitely call it something. Yeah.
No! I don't think we got a Hodor this episode.
We did not get a Hodor this episode.
Damn,
No
Hodor counter 0. That's a sad. Well, we're still at 3.
Still at 3. Still 3. There's plenty of Hodors later. I know they'll make up for it.
Yeah,
I know they'll make up for it.
That's okay.
But nevertheless, instead of anything here, they're like, you know what, fuck it, put him in the cells. Go ahead and send him to a cell. Introduce him to Mord. Is that his name? Mord?
Yeah.
M-O-R-D?
Introduce him to Mord. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, that just does not sound good.
No, he just fucking like growls and like barks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He said.
Frankly,
he
I love
said
Mord.
something to him. He was like something imp, like something. I don't know. Like he snarked at him and then just kind of and then just walked away. Yeah.
Fucking Mord. I love Mord. This is a real one. I like Mord. He's fucking crazy.
Favorite character of the episode.
Insane
Mord.
energy. Just insane energy coming off of Mord. I love me some Mord. But yeah, so he's like, you know what, I'll try and, you know, huddle in a corner. Try not to roll out. Dude. And the way it's like angled down like a little bit, it's like the floor is slightly slanted, so if you were to roll, you'd roll right off. Like
that's just brutal.
That's horrifying. Even
if it were the opposite way, even if it was like more inclined to fall into the room, I still don't think I could fall asleep. I still think I would roll off the edge. You know, even if it was like 15 feet inclined right. Still into the wall, I still like no. Just an open end, no. That's no. I don't like. Yeah, I don't like that. But if you get some climbing spikes, though, apparently that's all you need.
You can impregnate the bitch. But
I think that might just have to be the line of the episode. I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear a different one. You know, I'll wait. But
I don't really know. I don't know that there is a contender. I've at least from that storyline, that's like a for sure.
Yeah.
That's like a for sure winner from that storyline, I think. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else in that scene that I would be like, oh yeah, that was fucking awesome. But that's it for the Vale storyline this week. Tyrion gets locked up, Mord outside watching his fucking cell, and that's it. But I certainly wouldn't like to be in that situation. But next up, we're at Winterfell, and it's a nice brief scene at Winterfell, and the rest of it we're in King's Landing. This was a King's Landing heavy episode.
Yes, it was. Danny wasn't in it at all.
Neither was John.
Mention. Yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah. No Wall, no Danny.
No, that's
no
Wall, no.
Man, if you don't get one, you don't get the other.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. But up at Winterfell, Bran is kind of upset about his mom's absence. You know, after Maester Luwin has been quizzing him about everybody's house words, and he's like, he gets asked what are the words of House Lannister. He says the Lannister always pays his debts. He's like, I know, a popular saying, but not their words.
Idiot.
Idiot. And
You're
he
not the
throws out,
three-eyed raven. You don't know anything yet, stupid.
stupid little dummy idiot.
What?
Hear me roar.
That's. Oh yeah, I have the. Oh, true. I could have just
Yeah,
looked
it's
up.
hear
I
me,
guess.
hear me roar is the
Hear me
Lannister
roar.
words.
Hear me roar. Do the roar. That's all I think of whenever I hear that kind of do the roar. That's just all the Lannisters are to me. Wow.
But he throws out one that's like a family honor duty.
Mm.
And Maester Luwin's like, come on now. You know that's House Tully. That's her mom's house. Come on. He goes, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? And family's supposed to come first, right? Maester Luwin's like, man, you can't do that, dog. He's like, no, I'm going to do it, though, Maester Luwin. Family comes first, right? And Maester Luwin is like, yes, but, she went down there because it protects the family. He's like, how can she protect her family if she isn't with her family? Is she going to be back soon? Yes, she'll be back soon. Oh, do you know where she's at? No. Then how could you possibly know if she's going to be back soon? I just loved the way that Bran's like, he's a smart little fuck, like I know we're calling him a little dumb, stupid idiot, but like,
dude, everything he says, I take with a grain of salt now because of who he becomes, like every single thing because of how like the Three-Eyed Raven somehow is like forever and all, I don't know. Something's going on that we have no idea how the fuck it works. So I take everything he says with a grain of salt. And I had the thought of like, if family comes first and he's like, what's the point if you're not with them, blah, blah, blah. Very end, like out of his family, Rob and Rickon, I guess that's it. But he's with like everyone else, like at the end, like, and I wonder like if that was his goal. If that's like, I don't know, family comes first. And he like, because some people think like, was Bran just meant to be on the throne? Did he know he was just meant to be on the throne, or like did he manipulate it to become that way? Like
right.
How does that all work out? But like, did he find a future where he was with the most family that he could possibly have? Like, because the future wasn't bright for the Starks.
No.
Like many of them were about to die. Upcoming here soon.
Well, I'd counter that with the idea that he's actually not with family when he becomes the king.
I guess Arya goes boom.
Arya heads west. John's north of the wall.
Fuck, dude.
Sansa's
literally
queen of
they
the
go
north.
every other direction.
Yeah, none of them
shit.
end up together. Sansa ends up queen in the north. Bran's on the throne, and that's it. So like they're all over the place.
Maybe it's more of like not together, but like his family has reached their highest potential.
Yeah, what they always wanted.
Like Jon is gonna fucking rake shit north of the Wall. Arya's just gonna dominate wherever she goes. Sansa's already everyone's
the next king beyond the Wall, baby. After Mance Rayder,
the next Night King. If I had to guess,
I love this theory. It's bold.
It's a loop.
It's a loop.
Jon, Arya killed her brother. No. Yes. No. Yes. Arya killed. Yeah.
Cousin.
No, cousin. Arya killed her cousin. Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically. But nevertheless, Bran keeps getting frustrated here and not being able to practice his archery as he watches Theon go. And another interesting just imagery, knowing where the show goes, is watching Bran sitting with Theon standing in front of him shooting a bow. There was a shot from Bran's perspective of Theon shooting that just kind of reminded me of like a very specific shot from The Long Night, season 8, episode 3, where again he's using not live targets, but living dead targets as they charge at Bran. But Yeah, just more interesting stuff there, and Bran keeps getting upset. But Lewin suggests, you could learn to use a bow if this saddle that Tyrion designed works. It could be very cool. The Dothraki learned to shoot a bow on horseback when they're like 4. You could do that.
This was actually like a cute moment, not gonna lie. He's like,
I loved
yeah,
it.
the Dothraki learned it for. Why can't you? It was just like, man, yeah, that's like you couldn't have said anything better right there.
No,
actually.
yeah, Maester Lewin's a real one, man. I fuck with Maester Lewin, and I only like him more and more every time I rewatch the show, just because he's one of the big things we had problems with like House of the Dragon is that there's no like reasonable characters. They're all fucking crazy in some way or another. There's no just like normies. Maester Lewin is a normie. He is just a guy who happens to be a maester.
He just knows a bunch of shit. He's seen enough, and he's just real.
He's got
now.
a good heart, like he tries to do the right thing.
Maester. He's the Maester of Winterfell. He's got to be honorable. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, Bran's like, fuck yeah, dope. Okay, yeah, I guess I could do this, and that's where we leave Bran for the episode. But elsewhere in the castle, Theon enjoys the attentions of his favorite bestie, Roz. They get to sucking and fucking, and he becomes annoyed when she compares his, ability in the sack to Tyrion Lannister, and not so glowing a review for Theon. He's like, I've always wondered, what's the imp like? He's like, he's good with his hands and his mouth and all this. Oh yeah, fucking love fucking the imp. Yeah. And he's like, I don't want to hear about that shit. Why'd you ask, little pussy boy? I like that Roz knows she can fuck with Theon.
Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck, dude. I don't know. She knows who she is, true and true. She's like, I don't know. Even after like Theon gets a little aggressive, like she's still like,
oh yeah, she just keeps talking shit.
Yeah, just like, I don't really care. Like you're nothing to me. Really.
You're nothing to me. You're a little bitch boy. Yeah, I love Roz. I love Roz, and another great scene for her there. But she's gonna be heading south here before long. Can't be many.
That's nuts. Yeah.
Can't be more than a couple episodes out that she heads for King's Landing. But any hoozle, that brings us to the end of Winterfell storyline this week. And lastly, and for a giant chunk of this episode, we are in King's Landing.
The rest of the episode, right?
Yes, that is correct. We don't have another location.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was just King's Landing.
Very King's Landing.
Was not a bad thing, though. Not a bad thing.
No, not one bit. In fact, this is like I said, this is what I remembered season 1 being. We've spent surprisingly little time in King's Landing up to this point. Like, I know it was like a central hub for the last episode specifically, but like through the first 3, it's Winterfell, the King's Road, the Wall, and then episode 4 and 5 are like King's Landing. Let's do it, baby. But yeah, this is where Ned Stark arrives at the tourney ground to speak to Lord Commander Barristan Selmy about the suspicious death of Sir Hugh of the Vale. And Barristan notes that he had no family or friends, so he stood the night's vigil himself. And Ned's like, I don't know, man. How could he afford a new set of armor so fucking soon after being made a knight? It doesn't make sense that he could afford this armor so soon after becoming a knight. And Barristan's like, yeah, it is what it is. And the way Ned's like, so yeah, I understand it's random. Like, why did he end up facing the mountain? He's like, well, they all draw straws. And he's like, yeah, but who's holding the straws? Who made sure that Hugh is facing the mountain? And I was like, okay, this man's digging deep. But Barristan's like, what's kind of funny? That we fought each other in a war once during Robert's Rebellion. Haha, good times.
Man, I really hope we get to, like, see that one day. Like, some of that action, I don't know. Like, it's we just heard about it so much. Robert's Rebellion.
We'll see it.
And
We'll
like
see it one day.
17 years, that we hear like later this episode, they really hammered it. It's like, man, these 17 years that are just lost to Game of Thrones history. It's like, just one
Well,
day.
he's at this point, Robert's been king for 17 years.
Yeah, I guess. Damn.
And then it's the time right before that is really the compelling shit. But
how long is the rebellion? Is it just the killing of the Mad King and that's it? How long did that take?
No, it was a war.
Yeah,
like they fought battles with the Targaryens.
Yeah, he wiped out every Targaryen. That was his goal, right? And then like Viserys and Daenerys are just like escaped Targaryens just out like east, basically.
I clicked on Robert's Rebellion. It began in 281 after Aegon's conquering. It began with the execution of Rickard and Brandon Stark. It began with the killing of Ned's father and brother.
Okay.
And ended in 282 after Aegon's conquering. So a year. About a year-long conflict.
Okay. That makes more sense, actually. And then his ruling has just been for 17 years.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I guess, yeah.
Because John's 17 and he came home from the war with a baby.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why Lyanna had, okay. Yeah. That lines up everything a lot.
Yeah.
Actually. Okay.
A little bit clear image of what's going on there, but I loved the way that I love whenever Barristan's around, everyone's like, God damn, man, yeah, you're really good at shit. Like, you're a really good fighter. Like Jaime being like, one of the best moves I've ever seen last week, and then Ned being like, and I am quite thankful I never had to face off with you, as is my wife, because I'd be dead. I'd be dead.
You're just the GOAT, man. He's just the undeniable GOAT. That'd be a great feeling. I mean, man, even in your old age, for people to be like, damn, dude, I mean, you're just still so goated. I am actually still afraid of you just even being near you.
Right.
I'm kind of scared, but honored at the same time.
And I love the way Barristan's like so humble about it. He's like, hey, come on now, Ned. You've cut down some of the greatest knights of all time. And like, that was cool too. Like, we've heard a little bit about how Ned's like, I don't fuck with tourneys because I don't want people to know what I can do if we get in a real fucking fight, We hear this. He's like, oh, you've cut down some of the greatest knights of our time, shit like that. Like, it's cool, especially later on when you see him face off with Jaime Lannister, who is considered like the fucking dude, and they fight each other to a fucking draw. Like, Jaime does not win that fight. Like, that's
that fucking guy.
Ned Stark's a fucking G. He's a fucking G.
Up there for worst character of all time. Worst character of the episode. Freaking Lannister guard. Idiot.
Yeah, whatever fucking idiot decided to stab him through the leg.
What if Lannister guard isn't an idiot? What's that episode? Does Ned kill him? Does Ned chop off Jaime's hand? There's
no telling. There's no telling how different the landscape of this place could be. Frankly, like, that's what's crazy is this is one of the best possible endings to this conflict as far as not inciting war. Like, if Ned kills Jaime, war. If Jaime kills Ned, war.
Yeah. Yeah. No way around that one.
There will be a war fought.
Yeah. Hand of the King, resignation, death. That's not. That's war.
Yep.
Yep.
Not gonna go well. But any hoozle, he also tells Ned here that King Robert is planning to joust during the day's activities. It's like, yeah, he's planning to suit up and get out there. And Ned finds King Robert tormenting his squire Lancel Lannister as he's struggling to put on his chest plate for his armor. And he's like, "Oh, come on now, come on, you bloody fool!" And Ned's like, "You're too fat. You're too fat for your armor." And he's like, "What did you say?" Interactions between Sean Bean and Mark Addy as Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon is some of the greatest shit this show has to offer.
It's
like
so
whenever
they have the
like,
best scenes.
You heard the hand? Get the fuck out there. Find the breastplate stretcher. And he leaves, and Ned's like, breastplate stretcher, and he's like, how long do you think before he realizes that like that's not a thing?
Yeah, this just made me realize, like that my favorite scene. It's one that's between Ned and Robert. But man, I think I just got to go Mark Addy for the performance.
I went Mark Addy for the performance as well. He's fucking fantastic in this episode. I've been waiting for the episode where he shines because he's been great as Robert Baratheon. You know, he plays that character so well. But this is the one where it's just like, oh, he had some time to play with on screen here.
Man, yeah, this, I don't know, my favorite scene. I think I don't know if it'll shock you, but I don't know. It's one that's between Ned and Robert, though. So
I mean, like if there's any other
ones,
yeah, there's only one other if I remember correctly, and I I completely understand that one. That's fucking fantastic. But I'm still debating on mine. I think I have a gut feeling, but I can't be certain. But any hoozle, as this discussion goes on, Robert is adamant about fighting in the joust, and Ned's like, come on, man, you can't do that shit. The other knights would let you win. They'd be too afraid to kill you. And Robert's like, fucking A. Yeah, they would. Son of a bitch, that sucks. I'm never going to be treated like a fucking person again. Just a goddamn king.
Ugh,
poor
God.
me.
Why does being the king suck? No one would want to kill me anymore. Well, everyone wants to kill me at the same time, really.
Yeah,
well, a lot of people want to kill me.
Ironic, isn't it?
Especially my wife. But
he's like, but okay, at least I can fucking stick around and watch. And the first tilt of the day is between Sir Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, and the popular Knight of the Flowers, Sir Loras Tyrell.
Have you seen the Mountain lately?
Not in a while.
Like in real life.
I mean, the dude's a fucking behemoth of a man.
Instead of powerlifting and just being the biggest dude ever now, he decided to slim down, become an MMA fighter. He fights people now, and is like a completely. He just looks. He looks like take like She-Hulk, but just a man. It's literally him.
Well, there's been 3 mountains. Like 3 different people have played him. Are you talking about the last one?
Man, wait. It's not the same guy all the way through?
No, season 1 is Conan Stevens.
Oh.
Who
maybe it might be a different mountain then. Maybe it's the later mountain.
I think it's the last one. I think because he's also known as like Thor or something like that.
Yeah, it's Thor.
Yeah,
that's
season 4. That's season 4 through 8.
I didn't know there was an actor change until now. I thought it was the same guy. Just like he just went through a lot of bodybuilding changes, I thought, honestly.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, he's a different lad here. Interestingly enough, Conan Stevens also played the Man-Thing in 2005 Marvel movie titled Man-Thing.
Did he play Man-Thing in Werewolf by Night?
He did not.
That'd be really weird if, like, somehow behind the CGI he mocapped it or something. I don't know.
Well, it was actually let me blow your mind real quick with the Werewolf by Night. That's a puppet.
That's not CGI?
They CGI augmented it so that it would, like, move naturally a little bit more smoothly. But no, they built that thing. You can, like look, if you watch the Werewolf by Night behind the scenes, they on Disney Plus, yeah, they built that shit.
Damn. Wow, I did not. It did not.
Good.
Damn, it looked that good that I thought it was CGI.
Yeah. Well, that's a testament to how good it looks. I think is that like
that I thought it was fake. I thought it's so good that it was like a computer could only make this.
Well, there's a picture that Michael Giacchino posted on like Instagram or Twitter or something, where he's they have the fucking puppet there with them, like in the photo. So like I was like confused when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's a weird Photoshop, and then people were like, that's not a Photoshop. They fucking built that thing. Which is just absurd. Just absurd. But short little tangent about Man Thing. There was a connection. Conan Stevens playing Man Thing back in 2005. Man Thing and Werewolf by Night. We're not completely nonsensical. But
I see it. I see the picture.
you
That
found
is
it?
actually insane. Yeah. It's just like the upper half.
Yeah.
Of them. That's nuts. That looks so real.
It looks very good.
Damn. Man. I don't know.
Shit.
Specials, man. I'm hopping on the train. I'm hopping on.
Specials. Fuck. More on patreon.com
Yeah.
Bloom, where we covered the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special in our first edition of the comics Bloomiverse. But yeah. Winter's blooming. We're back. Okay, so they go ahead and Loras gives Sansa his flower. And Littlefinger and Lord Renly Baratheon make a little wager on who will win, with Renly betting on Loras, and Loras realizes that he is riding a mare that is in heat, which agitates and excites the mountain stallion, causing him to throw his rider. And enraged at having lost, Gregor goes sword and cuts off this horse's head as much as he could.
Like, do you think he knew that the horse was tampered with and that's why? Or do you think he was just so mad that he just killed the horse?
No, I think he knew it was the horse's fault that he lost, and he took it out on the horse.
I don't know, because, like...
Maybe I'm giving him a little too much credit, but that's the impression I got.
I guess. I don't know, because how do you know?
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't.
Oh, my horse was horny? Is that what they were saying? He's in heat? I
think so.
Like, is that what they're implying? In heat? Or, like, sick? What do they mean in heat? Like, that, I don't know what that means. Like, I was like, they made the horse... Because I've heard in heat as referred to as, like, being horny. Like, that's kind of how I know it. I don't know if that's... I don't know.
Yeah, it's horny.
Wow. So how did he know the horse was just horny? You know?
Well, I think the key is that he is riding a girl horse, and the mountain's riding a boy horse, and the girl horse was in heat, and the mountain's horse is like, yo, I want to fuck that horse.
I see. Okay.
That's where my money's at. It's like a pheromone thing. It's just like giving it off.
They really don't stray away from showing anything, though. Like,
no, man, this man cuts this fucking thing almost cuts the neck all the way off.
Man, it really, really, I don't know why they just didn't give him a clean cut, you know? Maybe just to make it more gruesome.
Yeah, I think it was to make it even harder to watch.
Damn, that's tough. I mean, from Tyrion's shield bashing to this,
yeah,
like they really didn't stray away.
They didn't shy. They didn't shy away from things, but yeah, he goes ahead and attacks Loras after this. He's ready to kill Loras, but Loras defends himself briefly, and right as he's about to die, we get our first Hound versus Mountain fight, and they fight each other to a standstill here. King Robert ultimately orders them to cease in the name of your king, and I love the way that Sandor just immediately ducks under the blade and like kneels. And
close call there. That was very confident kneel.
Yes,
very confident kneel.
It was
risky. Mount could have taken one more swing. I don't know.
It's true.
But
I think he knows that if his brother kills him here, after the king makes him stop, he's going to be put to death. Like, he's like,
fair, true, okay.
He's like, if I die, I die. As long as he dies, like that's his whole approach to the Mountain dying. The whole series is if he dies, good. If I have to die to make that happen, sure.
Fair enough. Yeah, that is, you know, okay. At first I was like, kind of, honorable, sure, but kind of dumb, Neil. But in his mind, it actually makes a whole lot of sense. Because man, yeah, I don't know. I love my brother, but like if that's the dynamic, I don't know, man.
Fuck no,
I
baby.
don't know if that's a brother. That's just blood at that point.
Yeah, that's like they got major beef. This is a different thing, But Sir Loras stands and thanks. He says, "Thank you, sir," and he's like, "I'm no sir." Forgot that Sandor Clegane is not a knight. Not technically. He's just a really big badass with a sword and some armor. He's a bodyguard.
For who?
For Joffrey.
So, let's see. But like, that's like Rhaenyra having like child Rhaenyra, Princess Rhaenyra era, having like just a non-knight.
Yeah.
Like I thought like they become a knight if they are like the Queen's Guard. Like that's the like I don't know that.
Maybe I just
Maybe is it just Robert just being like fuck it? I'd rather have
the Hound's kind of a badass.
I'd rather have like the best sword.
Yeah, it's like regardless of them being a knight or not. That'd be my guess.
The Mountain's a knight, right? Sir.
Yes, he is. He's Sir Gregor.
Yeah, so maybe it's just that. Maybe it's like out of spite. He just didn't become a knight because his brother went into it. I don't know.
Regardless, though, Sir Loras declares Sandor the victor, lifts his hand, and is like, he's won the tourney. Yes.
It's actually a nice moment for the Hound, though. Like,
for sure, the crowd goes wild. Everyone's loving him and stuff, and he's like, oh, bloody fuck. You motherfucking cunts. The Hound, man. But in the Red Keep.
Fire. I don't know. That's the storyline that I always think about with him is how, like, he sees whatever in the fire. And,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just how many different directions this story goes. It's just insane. Like,
I mean, yeah, the way that the Hound story gets expanded upon, I think the Hound ends up being like a top 10 favorite character of mine from this show.
Dude, he's like a big character near the
for
end.
Several seasons.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Seeing him start like get this early recognition, like the cheer, was actually I don't know. It's just cool, like thinking of all his future moments and like, I don't know. This show's so weird on rewatch.
Oh, it's
like
crazy.
It's every time it's different. I notice one little thing that makes me spiral down a web of storylines that I'm like, oh, I completely forgot that happened.
Exactly.
Which man,
nah, it's crazy, but. In the Red Keep, Lord Varys meets with Ned. He's like walking around making pleasantries, shutting all the windows, shutting all the doors, like, haha, no one can hear this. Bye, Jory. See you on the other side. And he sits down and he's like, all right, Ned, here's the deal. The king's a fucking dummy and will very soon be very dead unless you can help him. And Ned's like, why the fuck? I've been here a month. Why have you not told me anything yet? And he's like, well, I needed to be sure you could be trusted. He's like, men of honor in King's Landing are quite rare. And I know now that you are one of them. I believe myself to be another. You're amongst the only good men in the city. So, listen up. He's probably going to meet the same fate as Jon Arryn. Tears Elise being untraceable. They have no smell, no taste. It's basically water. He's like, so yeah. He started asking questions. Ooh. So be careful, Nettie. I'm telling you in private so that you can go be the dumbass and figure out all of it on your own.
And the idea is that the Lannister boy, the squire, is the one who gave him the tier
his
of
wine.
Knowingly? Him.
Oh, wait. Jon Arryn?
Or is this a different squire?
Different squire did it to Jon Arryn.
Who was the squire?
Sir Hugh of the Vale. the guy who got killed by the mountain last week. That's why he became a knight, is because he was given status in return for this by the Lannisters.
Oh, wow! I never knew that's what that guy is.
I didn't until this watch.
Wow.
I'd never caught it, but it was. I
The
paid
guy
a lot
that
more
gets like the
attention to
javelin
Ned.
through the throat.
Yeah,
Wow.
that guy poisoned John Aaron. And I've been paying a lot more attention to Ned's actual investigation and like the steps he's taking and what leads him that way. And this episode, his whole thing was Sir Hugh of the Vale being like, who draws the straws? Because if the Lannisters, if Cersei sets up that Sir Hugh faces the mountain kills Sir Hugh, seals up an open end, doesn't need to worry about it anymore, and it's perfectly legitimate. You know, like
what happens if he wins? What happens if the mountain dies?
Probably
not likely.
Dies.
He's probably just
that's the thing, is that like
probably like, damn,
he was not
he's
going
up against the mountain.
Yeah, the mountain's
I'm
going
good
to win.
Yeah, Cersei's like, I'm good.
I think the other thing is that he just became a knight. It was like his first tournament. It's like his first ride. It's like, this dude's fucked. He's gonna die. And they were probably like, hey, Gregor, go ahead and stick it in his throat.
We'll let you go up against the mountain if you poison the hand of the king. Is that like really like, or like we'll just let you be a knight?
They made him a knight.
But
that
like,
was the deal.
So he just went up against the mountain because he had to take the place of Robert?
He went up against the mountain because they draw straws to see who has to face the mountain. And Ned's questioning earlier being like,
okay.
And who holds the straws? You know, like who's controlling that? The Lannisters manipulated it so that Sir Hugh would take the short straw, have to face the mountain, and die. He doesn't have any way of knowing he got set up. He doesn't have any way of knowing shit like that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's out of the know.
He's out of the know, and he gets killed. But
damn,
yeah, that's
become a knight put up against the mountain. That is so rough.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I might as well kill myself.
Yeah,
or forfeit, for fuck's sake. I don't know. But later on, we see Arya Stark chasing some cats in accordance to her sword training, and she chases one down into the dungeons under the castle, where she finds the great dragon skulls of the Targaryen dynasty. I like the way that this changes, like over time, like where the skulls are being held and which skulls are where, and like this is the dungeon for now. It's this one little fucking room.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the dragon skulls were in like a more secretive part of the.
I don't feel like you just walk down a few flights of stairs and you just find the dragon skulls. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you can't, chase a cat down into the into that. I don't know. That's kind of that is kind of nuts.
I mean, like, no, not just anyone could, I guess. But like, there are a lot of people in the Red Keep, so like, I don't know. But nevertheless, she stumbles upon one, and she then hears two men talking. We know them to be Varys and Magister Illyrio of Pentos, but Arya does not, and she goes ahead and hides away. And Varys says that the events have been set in motion, and that the lion and the wolf will soon be at each other's throats. That war is almost upon the Seven Kingdoms, just as they had planned, but it has to come soon. And they say that Khal Drogo will not invade Westeros until his son is born and pronounced healthy, which is still many months away. And Illyrio suggests assassinating Ned to forestall the war, but Varys is like, nah, we can't do that shit, bro. He's like one of the only people we can actually kind of count on to do some decent shit here. So, but like the fact that Varys is like conspiring behind the scenes with people to control the Seven Kingdoms.
I mean, the dude knows everything, and when you know everything, I don't know. Like, it really seems like he's the one pulling, like, really the one pulling the strings.
Well, that's the thing, is that he's pulling his own strings, while other people are pulling strings in opposition of him. Like, Cersei's pulling strings right now that Varys doesn't agree with. Peter's pulling strings right now that Varys doesn't agree with. There's just that's the thing, is there are too many people pulling strings. There isn't any one person who has the be all end all, and it's fucking over a lot of people. But after this little scene, this brief one here, Varys finds Littlefinger in the Great Hall, staring at the Iron Throne, and Varys reveals that he knows of Littlefinger's assistance in Ned's investigation of Jon Arryn's death, and reminds him the consequences that should befall him if the Lannisters should discover his involvement. And this only comes after Littlefinger accuses him of being a pedophile, and not only accuses him of being a pedophile, but also goes, "Hey man, no judgment."
Yeah, wow. Just whatever you're into, we got you.
No, yeah. In fact, I provide such a thing.
Yeah.
And I, for some reason, think I hold the moral high ground.
Yeah, I did not, I don't know, pick up on this the first time, like how okay, like with all of that stuff he is, and then like the later conversation he has with Varys, or maybe did they already talk, or is that coming up?
This
him and
is
Varys,
it, where they're talking about the fucking.
this
the
is him and Varys,
stuff.
not him and Ned right now.
Yeah, this is him and Varys.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, like I don't know, I did not catch.
Yeah, he's like, I hear that there's a lord with a fancy for fresh cadavers. That must be a hard one to come by, huh?
The logistics of finding fresh corpses or whatever, like
yeah, like
man, yeah, like oh my gosh. And he's like, well, that's not legal. He's like, yeah, strictly speaking.
Well, and what's so crazy is, the first time you watch this, you're looking at a couple of, you don't fuck with Littlefinger. You know Littlefinger's slimy. You're not fucking with Littlefinger. But this just assures that.
Oh, yeah.
The first time you're watching this, you're not sure about Varys yet. It's not until this episode that you're kind of like, okay, Varys seems okay. Like he seems all right. I think that this conversation just drives home the two sides of that coin between Varys and Littlefinger. Like they hold a similar role.
Yeah. And what they do with their
knowledge. They do the opposite thing for opposite reasons.
Okay.
And it's the reason Varys gets my favorite character out of the episode.
Yeah.
Mostly because any of the concerns I did have the first time I watched this, like wait, is Varys a pedophile? No, he's not. We know that now. Like after having watched the show, we know that for sure. He's in fact has no sexual desires at all. This man's asexual, does not give a fuck. So like just knowing who Varys is from the get-go has endeared me to him a lot more already. Knowing that his mission is to set up the people as best as he possibly can reminds me of back in House of the Dragon Age, what would have been Mysaria being like, hey, they make children fight down here, bro. Y'all got to stop that shit.
Yeah.
Like he's on his shit for the people. And but Littlefinger, he's on that shit for himself. And Littlefinger reveals that he already knows how Varys met with Ned earlier today, and Varys is like, "Oh yes, of course I did. It's no big deal. That's all right." And he's like, "And a certain foreign minister," and that really gags Varys. He's like, "Oh,
how you know about that, and how does he know about that?
Yeah,
and
man.
How is it not through Arya?
Folks be watching." But well, that's the thing.
Who else was down there other than Arya?
Well, I mean, nobody was probably down there. They could have seen them come up together. But if Arya tells Ned, someone overhears.
He only knows that they were seen together, not what they were talking about.
Exactly.
Fair.
And,
okay.
He implies that he knows of Varys's history across the Narrow Sea, and their conversation is then interrupted by Renly, who's like, "Come on, all! My brother will be appearing in the small council today." And they're like, "Fucking for real? At a small council meeting?" And they're like, "Yep, come on down." And that's Littlefinger's like, "Oh no shit," and Varys being like, "Yes, big news from across the Narrow Sea. Didn't you hear?" I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" The way he's just like, "Fuck you, Littlefinger. I know more shit than you do." I love their little pissing matches. It's so funny.
Yeah, their back and forth is so good.
They're so good on screen together, dude.
Varys definitely gets the character nod. Like their back and forth, them equally threatening each other, in like drastically different, well, not even drastically different ways, just like having dirt on each other that is treason, basically whatever. That would definitely get them killed, but one is, I'll tell the king, and then one is like, I'll tell the queen, just like the complete opposites. One is more honorable, one is, backstabby, connivey. I don't know, I love their dichotomy. Varys definitely gets the character nod for sure.
Cool.
Here.
I'm glad we're on. Like that's one thing that's interesting about this episode is that like it doesn't feel like there are standouts, and then you go and talk back through it, and you're like, okay, yeah, it's that. Like Varys was my favorite character. Mark Addy as Robert is the best performance of the episode. There's just so much to like about those two.
Like
there,
the rise of like he went from just kind of like a background character that knows a lot of stuff somehow to like this episode was like, I don't know, was this him? I don't know. It was just different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess a little later too. He has some moments later.
True. True.
I believe, right? Is there still more with him? Or is that
I think Varys, Varys is in the small council
like
later.
After the, that's right. I think, no, that is what I'm talking. Yeah, the small council meeting. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's in the small council meeting later, but that's it with him, I believe. But nevertheless, Arya escapes from the dungeons and tries to warn her father about what she overheard. But she gets the words all. She's like, I don't know, man. I'm panicked. There was a fat bald guy and another fat guy. They were talking about stuff. The people killing you, wolf and lion throats, war. I don't know. Just be worried. Be worried, Dad. And he's like, it's all right, love. It'll be okay. And damn, man.
No, it won't.
No, it won't. No, it won't, dog.
No, it won't.
They are interrupted by Yoren here. Yoren, recently discovered to have been a Game of Thrones and Star Wars crossover for us. We were watching Rogue One the other day on Rebellion's
That's
Bloom.
right.
And
yes.
he's a gritty rebel on Rogue One and in the shuttle with them. So nice little Star Wars crossover there with Yoren. But he's ridden nonstop from the end of the crossroads to bring Ned forewarning news of Catelyn's arrest of Tyrion. And Ned's like, okay, I'm gonna put that in the back pocket. Keep that in mind. That's gonna be a fucking problem. Sure. I got a lot of shit to worry about. So let's hold off on this. Jory, take Arya to her room. So I can deal with this.
Our two best swordsmen as well. Or no, that's a little later actually.
That is a little later, but
but he's not that worried yet, I guess.
No. Yeah, it's only a little bit later after he's quit. But Arya asks Jory on the way about the state of her father's household guard. Like, hey, so how many men we got down here? About 50? Yeah. And y'all won't let him die, right? Nah, you have nothing to worry about, little lady.
Well, nothing you could do against just the most irritable piece of shit character of all time.
No.
That happens that fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because Robert dies either next episode or the episode after.
That's insane. That's nuts. It's gonna get moving.
Yeah, like the last 5 episodes of this show or of this season are fucking loaded.
Yes, this is the halfway point. That's
nuts. We're halfway through season 1 of Winter is Blooming, baby.
Damn. Wow.
We're moving with these projects, bro. But nevertheless, at the meeting of the small council, King Robert tells Ned that Dany is pregnant. Daenerys Targaryen is pregnant, and her son will soon have a claim to the Iron Throne.
Uh-oh.
He's like, so what do you think we should do about this, Ned? Never mind, I'll fucking tell you. We're going to kill Daenerys, we're going to kill the child, and while we're at it, we're going to kill Viserys. Sound like a plan?
Yep. He's like, is that plain enough for you?
You digging that? You digging that, Neddy? And Ned's like, no, I'm not. This would be dishonorable. It will be cowardly. And it would be beneath our dignity. And the other members of the council, Pycelle, Renly, Littlefinger, and Varys, they're all like, hey, man, if we don't do this, the the realm's gonna plunge into war. I don't know. It feels like it's the best possible way to avoid that. And King Robert's like, enact the fucking order, Ned. I order you.
Mm.
And
It
Ned's like,
is. I don't know. It is interesting to think here. Like they say, like we should have killed her like a long time ago. Like we should just kill her. Like they're talking about it like it's so obvious to them. Like we should have just killed her. Like we should just kill her. Like say they kill Daenerys now. Dragons aren't born, probably.
no.
Like I'm trying to guess like what happens in the end game, with the Night King at the end. Like, does the Night King win if they kill Daenerys? Because the Night King does not get a dragon.
Yeah.
If they kill Daenerys.
Yeah, but see, the Night King only needed a dragon because she had dragons.
How is he going to get through the wall? That's how he got his army through the wall.
True.
Was with the dragon.
True. Didn't
like,
think about that.
The wall, like he's been the Night King for a minute. The only reason he marched south was because he had a dragon to get through the wall.
That's a good point. Yeah, there's a chance that the Night King doesn't become the threat that he is if Dany's just killed here.
So that's interesting that the prophecy is that there needs to be a Targaryen on the throne, but like maybe the true prophecy is that like there needs to be 0 dragons. Actually, there needs to be 0 Targaryens. Actually, not one. Actually, no prince who's promised. I'm on the no. I'm actually okay. I need to shut up.
I think he would have figured out a different way.
You're right. He's magic.
The wall.
He can. Yeah.
He would have figured out a different way.
He probably would have got an army big enough
John
to
even
stack.
knew. Yeah, before John even knew dragons fucking existed, he was like, "We need to be fucking worried." You know what I'm saying? Like, they're coming south.
That's true. I guess, but didn't they just? They did come south. I guess. Yeah, they didn't just hold their territory. They were coming more and more south.
Mm-hmm.
And they were poking. Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know. George R. Martin needs to die.
It's an astounding what if.
Book. Yeah, I know.
It's an astounding what if, but nevertheless, Ned's like, the Robert I knew wouldn't be fucking afraid of an unborn child. I quit. I'm done being hand to the king. Does that sound good, Robbie? How's that, Bob? You digging that? You like that? And this whole interaction between them was fucking electric. Just continues to lend Mark Addy and Sean Bean all the reverence in the world for their performances here.
Yeah, this is my favorite scene of the episode. Right here was Ned's resignation. Him quitting here. I love the back and forth between them, and also like Varys even being like, it's for the greater good. Like these 2 people die for the tens of thousands, and even the mace are like chirping in. Like, it's interesting that they all think that Robert is a fool, and whether they're just playing to Robert's hand, like, because Robert's here, they have to agree with what Robert says, whether they're just doing that, or whether they truly agree, like, whether they're like, no, yeah, we just kill, like, it's a threat to the throne.
God, I just want to read you this fucking, I have the dialogue from, like, basically the whole fucking scene here. And, like, it's just too fucking good. Like, Robert, when Ned enters, Rob says, "The whore is pregnant." Ned goes, "You're speaking of murdering a child." Robert says, "I warned you this would happen back in the north. I warned you, but you didn't care to hear. Well, hear it now. I want them dead, mother and child both, and that fool Viserys as well. Is that plain enough for you? I want them both dead." Ned goes, "You'll dishonor yourself forever if you do this." Robert goes, "Honor? I've got 7 kingdoms to rule. 1 king, 7 kingdoms. Do you think honor keeps them in line? Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear and blood." Ned says, "Then we are no better than the Mad King." Robert goes, "Careful, Ned. Careful now." Ned continues, "Want to assassinate a girl because the spider heard a rumor." No rumor, my lord. The princess is with child. Based on whose information? Sir Jorah Mormont. He is serving as an advisor to the Targaryens. Mormont? You bring us the whispers of a traitor halfway across the world and call it fact. Peter goes, let me make again an excuse for some atrocities. Jorah is a slaver, okay? Not a traitor. Small difference to a man like you, I know.
Yeah.
Like, it just keeps...
Man, yeah, Littlefinger just is getting worse and worse. And where he ends up, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I think about it, it totally makes sense. So I don't actually feel bad in any way. I just think he's a cool character for the show.
Oh, he's a great
Hate
character.
the guy. I guess that's a very common trope for Game of Thrones characters is cool for the show, hate the guy, actually.
Hate the guy, yeah. Hate the character. But, yeah, he says, Ned says, I followed you into war twice without doubts, without second thoughts, but I will not follow you now. The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child. And I think that will be my line.
Ooh.
The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child.
Damn. Robert I grew up with would not tremble at the thought of an unborn child.
The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child.
Didn't tremble. There we go. Yeah, Ned, Sean Bean just fucking goes hard. There we go.
Nuts scene, but yeah, it's a wonderful one. But Ned orders his household to begin packing, and as he's packing, Littlefinger arrives and is like, I was just going to inform you that there's one last place I wanted to show you Jon Arryn visited before he fell ill. And Ned's like, oh, fucking A. I got too much to do. It'll take too long. This will not take but more than an hour, Your Grace. I'll see you later. Bye. And
it would only take an hour. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Yeah, no, that's literally what he does. He literally starts walking out. It would only take an hour. Whatever. See you later. And he's
whatever,
like,
dude. Whatever, dude. If you don't want to,
obviously, dude. Like,
yeah.
Oh, God damn it, Ned! You should have just left, man.
Right, and this is the part where he instructs the guards to go see to the girls and make sure that they're safe and protected. And it's then that we cut to Sir Loras and Lord Renly, who are all lovey-lovey, meeting in a bedchamber where Renly complains about Robert organizing a hunt in the Kingswood, which will no doubt involve traipsing around the forest for a couple of weeks in the cold and rain, waiting to kill something. And Loras is like, you know what, Renly? You know what? Your brother's a shit king. You know who would make a pretty good king? He's like, oh, don't be ridiculous, Loras. I'm fourth in line. He's like, yeah, but Joffrey's a sicko. Tommen's a fucking child. Stannis is a goddamn idiot.
He had the good point, too. He's like, what line was Robert in? You know, what how far was Robert down the line?
He's like, they're backed by so much more money. Like he was backed by the Lannisters. It's a deep pocket, and he's like, I'd back you. I come from a rich and powerful family. And Renly's like, shut the fuck up. You're not as rich as the Lannisters. Come on now. They are the second richest family in Westeros, though, as we do learn later on. The Tyrells, but he also asserts that the people love Renly and want to serve him because he is kind and doesn't revel in violence as his brothers do. And Renly's like, thank you. And Loras is like, of course, I'm going to suck your dick now. And he's like, okay, cool. And that's how we leave that scene.
He's like, yeah, maybe I should be king. Maybe I could get used to this life.
Man, I do feel like a king right now.
Yeah, I think in that moment he's like, you know what? Maybe I will think about this.
Yeah, you know what? Call me King Shit of Fuck Mountain, because this shit rocks. Okay, I love this. But no, yeah, Renly. This is the beginning. I didn't realize this was like the beginning of a pretty compelling arc for Renly, and I didn't. Just knowing the familial relations and stuff, I don't know why I've never really thought about the fact that Renly, whenever he makes his bid for king here in the next couple seasons, the War of the Five Kings, he's one of the options. And he's married to Marjorie, Loras' sister. And like I know that was a thing, I know that was a connection, but like I don't know, like catching on to it earlier and stuff is just every time I watch the show, like I know I've made some of these realizations before, but every time I watch the show, they just like occur to me brand new again. And
yeah, they're in like the back brain.
Exactly.
And then every time you hear it, it's like, oh my god, you have that like realization again. It's
the
like
brain blast, if you will.
Yeah,
it's
and we're only at season 1.
Man,
that's the thing. We're hitting the surface level ones, the early ones.
But yeah, I like me some Loris and Renly. They're a cool duo, and both those characters separately are awesome and take incredible trajectories over the course of this show. And the actor for Loris actually has a Marvel crossover. Nothing that you've seen, I don't think, which does limit it to he's Danny Rand. He is Iron Fist in the Marvel in the Netflix Marvel shows.
Okay. Yeah, I've not seen that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's him. So
gotta get around to those eventually. All
and I'm assuming he'll be coming back as the MCU's Iron Fist, given the way that it seems.
They're marketing it as they're just taking it as it is.
Seems like it. But yeah, so nice little crossover there as well. But next up, Queen Cersei and Robert share a drink and discuss the Targaryen threat. And surprisingly, Cersei's like, you know what? I think Ned's right. You know, the Dothraki can't fucking cross the Narrow Sea. They don't have ships. Doesn't make any fucking sense. And Robert's like, it's funny, that fucking thing you do. You open your mouth and your father's voice comes out. Again, another mention of Tywin Lannister, him being a phantom presence, but we don't see him for a while. And Robert's like, okay, fine. If they did land and the Knights of Westeros take shelter behind their castle walls, the Dothraki could simply burn and pillage their way up and down the continent until the small folk accept Viserys as their king. That's all they would have to do. And I like that he's like, hey man, if the Dothraki make it across the sea, they will burn and pillage. And then the Dothraki make it across the sea. And they burn and pillage.
There was a fair point of like, tell me how they're going to get their horses across the water. Like, I guess they didn't think, like, they would have to just also have a very large fleet, which eventually they do. But like, I guess like that's the thing is like, the Dothraki are strong because of like their horses, I guess, you know. Right. But like, are they not strong just by themselves? Like they're a bunch. Can you imagine just if they came over just by themselves on ships? You know, like I think the Dothraki, even without their horses, is still like the greatest army in the world still right now.
Yeah, they're pretty fucking brutal. I think that ultimately what I think the concern is that Viserys is not capable of leading the Dothraki. Like nobody believes the Dothraki are disciplined enough to be an army under a king. I don't think.
That's fair. They just do whatever the fuck
they're not going to cross the Narrow Sea because they never wanted to, and whoever is trying to lead them has to be Khal, or that's it. You know, like they can't. Like Viserys can't just come over and be like, marry my sister and take me across the ocean. You know, like and I think most people know that that's not how they operate. They just can't possibly predict that Dany would be as persuasive as she is to them. But anywho, it is here that Cersei suggests that the unified armies of the Seven Kingdoms could defeat them, but Robert's like, I don't think you understand. Several armies versus one army with one leader and one purpose is so infinitely more powerful. And I loved the way that like that's speaking from the perspective of someone who has led a rebellion.
Yeah. Legit.
You know, like he's like, I promise the reason we won is because we were united under one purpose, not several different kingdoms bringing their army together just so they can prevent my throne getting taken. They don't give a fuck what happens to my throne, you know?
Yeah, I mean he has been ruler for 17 years, but for a reason. He did do all of that. Whatever, I don't know. I want to see it.
I want to see
I
it.
want
I
to I
would
want
like
to
to
see
see it.
all of that. But man, I don't know. I want to see Robert in his glory days, just freaking
When he was a
mashing people.
badass.
I know. Robert 17 years ago, man, like during the rebellion, how old is he now? Like,
I would
is it,
guess almost 50
yeah, okay. So, I mean, he's still a man. He's like a Maximus, I guess.
type. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see that. Robert's rebellion. You could just get another rebellion,
You know what?
podcast
I'm going to
name.
declare my scene.
Mm,
It's Cersei and Robert here.
it is good.
It's too fucking good, man.
Yeah.
The back and forth between Lena Headey, who we have not given enough love yet. She does go on to make some fucking waves in this show, and I know I've been kind of keeping that in my back pocket because I know she becomes like a consistent front runner for best of the show every episode at some point. But her and Mark Addy here are fucking incredible together as they get this shit rolling. But she the conversation continues. She says, "What do you want?" And Robert says, "We haven't had a real fight in 9 years. Backstabbing doesn't prepare you for a fight, and that's all the realm is now. Backstabbing and scheming and ass licking and money rubbing. Sometimes I don't know what holds it together." Cersei responds, "Our marriage." I was like, God
Ooh,
damn, if that isn't a sad fucking reality.
ooh.
And Robert going, "So here we sit, 17 years later, holding it all together. Don't you get tired? Every day.
Mm.
How long can hate hold a thing together?" Cersei goes, 17 years is quite a long time. Robert goes, "Yes, it is." Cersei goes, "Yes, it is." And I like that, like, whenever two characters that have been obviously hating each other can just have a conversation. And I think what's interesting is that, like, one of the only scenarios in which that makes sense is a married couple who has
Yeah.
lost all love.
Yeah, I see this as like a Perrin and Mon
Mom,
Mothma
yeah.
if Perrin somehow makes it out alive, which I hope he doesn't.
That man's
I hope
going
he
to
dies
jail, I
before
hope.
they can even have a conversation like this. He doesn't deserve a conversation like this, actually.
No, not one bit. Not one bit. But
But
Cersei asks here, what was she like? This catches Robert off guard, and he asks, "You've never asked about her, not once. Why now?" Cersei says, "At first, just saying her name, even in private, felt like I was breathing life back into her. I thought if I didn't talk about her, she'd just fade away for you. When I realized that wasn't going to happen, I refused to ask out of spite. I didn't want to give you the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to ask. And eventually it became clear that my spite didn't mean anything to you. As far as I could tell, you actually enjoyed it." Robert asks, "So why now?" Cersei continues, "What harm could Lyanna Stark's ghost do to either of us that we haven't done to each other 100 times over?" Robert leans forward and says, "You want to know the horrible truth? I can't even remember what she looked like. I only know she was the one thing I ever wanted. Someone took her away from me, and 7 kingdoms couldn't fill the hole she left behind."
damn,
Cersei
Mark
says,
Addy doesn't get the performance for this one, man.
"Man, and he's having a tough time. This is
Oh yeah,
vulnerability that we see out of Robert Baratheon here." And Cersei continues, "I felt something for you once, you know." And the way Robert goes, "I know." Like, and that's a scene I don't really remember. The idea that Cersei did love Robert is kind of incredible, considering her incestuous, never-ending love with her brother. The fact that
do
she
you think it
probably
was
was at
real?
one point. Yeah. No, I 100% believe her.
Like, you think it wasn't just like she was like trying to make the best of her situation? and like the forced marriage, like I might as well, like I guess I don't know, just because like it seems that
It's just
I
the
don't know,
way she
maybe
says it here, like the way when he says I know, and she goes, even after we lost our first boy for quite
yeah.
a while, actually.
I guess like Jamie is really the only one that says how in love he is with her, and
Mhm.
not the other way around.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah.
again, this continues. She asks, "Was it ever possible for us?
Mm.
Was there ever a time, ever a moment?" And Robert goes, "No, no, I never loved you. That it was never a possibility. I was never
Damn.
going to love you."
I see why Cersei's a villain.
Yeah, man. And he asks, "Does that make you feel better or worse?" And Cersei goes, "It doesn't make me feel anything." Like,
That
that's
might be the
something you
line.
don't realize you're watching over the course of this first season, is Cersei becoming like the villain that she becomes,
Yeah.
because she's not nice. She's definitely not a good guy in season 1, but she's not fucking evil yet. You know what I'm saying?
She's not blowing up the crypt yet.
She's not a complete and utter villain. She there are reasons behind the things she does. She believes she has a sense of morality on her. I don't like. I mean, once you tell your brother who you're fucking to push a child out of a window, morality is a little bit up in the air. But
You might get the line
that's a strong
with
line.
with makes me feel nothing.
It
Is
doesn't
that what
make
it
me
was?
feel anything.
Does it beat? Give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes. I'll impregnate the bitch. Does it beat it?
That's up to you, man. I can't confidently tell you one way or another.
I think it beats it.
Good.
It's funny, Braun. I love you, Braun.
You will have another chance to pick that line.
And whenever it comes to that date, I think it'll be a lot stronger.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, but Cersei says, what are her exact words?
It doesn't make me feel anything.
Yeah. There we go.
I love it. I love it. But thereafter, Littlefinger brings Ned to the last place Jon Arryn went before falling ill, which is one of Littlefinger's brothels. And there, Ned meets another one of Robert's bastards. This time, a baby girl and her mother, a blonde woman named Megan. And she remarks that her child has Robert's nose and black hair, and Ned asks Littlefinger why Jon Arryn was searching for Robert's bastards, and he says he doesn't know, offering a half-hearted guess that maybe Robert suddenly took paternal interest in them. And Ned's like, come on now. You and I both know that that's not the case. And just the way that this poor woman was like, tell him I don't need money or anything. I just want him. He was always really nice when he came in here. Like, oh, this poor lady. She
What
has
was
no
the
idea.
point of checking in on this one?
Like
to know every bastard.
To know every bastard in case, because the reason Aaron is suspicious is because he knows Joffrey's not his son.
True.
He's looking for an heir.
True. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he knows Joffrey, Tommen, and Marcella are not Robert's kids.
So was this bastard maybe like a step along the way to Gendry?
That's
Or
a possibility. There's also the possibility that he was simply looking for the sake of, like, maybe he didn't think Gendry was a suitable heir and thought maybe if they could raise a child up from birth,
wow,
he could be heir.
So I guess, yeah. Because I was thinking, like, if it's found out that Joffrey is not Robert's kid, then would the people just want this random kid with a wife? I guess she's been with no one, she swears, but like, would the people, like, I'm the people's view on that, you know.
I think it's interesting, you know. I think that I think it's probably a ploy of desperation for the Baratheon line to continue to hold the throne. I think that at this point, what they're really trying to prevent is the Targaryens. Like, that's the top one rivalry. So if they need a suitable heir so that the people don't officially go, oh, well, then fuck it, I'm going to just keep pulling for the Targaryens. You know, like if they... Because that's the thing, too. The people in King's Landing don't give a fuck who's ruling, really. They just...
You're right. The people don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and so like that's the thing, that the way that the bastard thing is handled at that level is really, really contradictory at a lot of points, because they really just play it based on how much it can benefit the father.
True.
If the father's legacy can be benefited by the bastard becoming the heir, fuck yeah. Then yeah, sure. If they can't, send them to the fucking wall. I don't give a fuck. And that's kind of how they approach. Like it's entirely based on the fact on whether or not the father wants to accept the child as his own. Because that's the other thing, is that we watch Roose Bolton declare Ramsay Snow Ramsay Bolton later in the show. You can decree your kid,
that's true,
in the name of the king, your trueborn heir. So like
true.
I think that's more what they were looking for.
Okay.
Just in case. But yeah, they go ahead and head on out of the brothel, and this is where Ned and Jory and the two guards that accompanied them are confronted by a large group of Lannisters, led by Sir Jaime Lannister himself. And Jaime's like, so, heard of Tyrion got arrested and that your wife has him. I was wondering what the fuck that was all about. And Ned was like, yeah, I had him arrested on my orders. Loved that detail. That he was like, guy. It's a little bit, there's a few things going on here. He's like, I'm not going to let Catelyn take the blame for this, but he's also going to be like, I don't want to let you know that Catelyn made a decision without me. Makes me look weak, makes me look like I don't have authority over my house. Yeah, I made that call. You know, like it's kind of like
he was kind of forced into it. Yeah, had to do it, and it was like a good play at the same time. Like kind of.
But Jaime's like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking kill you, man. And Ned's like, Ned's like, if you do, Tyrion will be dead. And Jaime's like, yeah, but I guess I'll just have to settle for killing your men instead. And Ned's two guards, Heward and Will, are very quickly killed by Lannister spearmen who just toss their fucking spears at them in the opening seconds of the fight. And in response, Ned and Jory have to fight 6 Lannister soldiers. And Jory engages Jaime. And I was like, why? Gee golly, why don't I remember Jory? Well, Jory gets killed in episode 5 with a dagger through the face.
Because he's in a collective 3 scenes, pretty much.
Yeah. He's very minor character. And,
honorable role, though. Honorable guy.
Stabs him through the eye with a dagger, and Ned's like, all right, fine, let's fucking do this thing. And they go back and forth, slinging them swords, and Jaime is like, wow, you really on this shit, huh? For an old guy. You're really down. And he's kind of exhilarated when Ned is not as easily defeated as he expected, but Jaime starts to, continually grow worried as Ned's high level of skill becomes more and more apparent. He's like, oh, wow, yeah, this guy can fucking do the thing, huh? And just as they are ready to clash again, a Lannister guardsman decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and stab this guy through the leg with a spear. What the fuck, dude? Why?
Guy, man.
What was the thought process here? Nobody in the area had been doing anything like this. Nobody had been trying to spear him. It was completely random. They'd been standing there for a couple seconds. He was like,
and why through the thought?
I'm gonna stab him.
So much. That's so bad. Like, you could have just did like the foot, or like could have just knocked him out, or I don't know.
Take the back of your spear and knock him against the back of the head or something.
Like, to stab him through the back of the thigh all the way through that. Oh my God. And
Yeah,
obviously it's not what Jamie wanted.
No, yeah, the
Jamie
way
fucking
Jamie's
knocked
like,
him out.
you dumb motherfucker.
Mm.
Like, he knocks him out. Like, I love the way he's like, I'm already viewed as a man without honor because of what I did to the Mad King. I don't need you proving their fucking points by stabbing dudes in the back of the leg while I'm dueling them. It's not something I need right now. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. But as he's leaving, he tells Ned he wants his brother back. And we cut to black on our friend Ned Stark and Jory Cassell and the Northmen collapsed on the ground.
Bum, 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 bum. And it's picking up. It is picking up.
It's really picking up. It's really picking up now.
I think I got all my favorites mentioned, actually.
All right. Well, you got Lord Varys. We both have Varys' character. We both have Mark
and Mark Addy.
I'm gonna switch up the character since he's getting love. I'm gonna spread the love out. And as badly as I want to go with Mord, I will not be going with Mord.
Mord.
I think Mord. I'm gonna go with Ned. You can't go wrong with picking Ned Stark as your favorite character. That scene where he does decide, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. I'm done. Instead of being the second most powerful man in the realm, I will gladly see that power over to you and get the fuck out of here. You know, like that's some strong shit. So yeah,
True. Okay, fair enough.
I'm going Neddy Stark for my favorite character of the episode.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Varys, he needs to get the nod though. So I gotta stay with him.
I respect it. I just wanted to throw a little bit more love around. We had the same character and same performance. I was like, let's spread it. Let's spread it around.
True. But now this feels good. Because now I have Ned's resignation as my scene. So I got Varys, Robert, and Ned, and then I got Cersei for the line. So I kind of got, I don't know, a good spread.
Oh yeah, I feel you. I got a pretty good spread too. Robert and Cersei's conversation for the scene, and the Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child by Ned. But with that, I say we rate this bad boy, and awesome. I have the feeling we've got a new high for the season.
I think we shall have that as well.
Yes, for enjoyment, I'm rather high on this one. I think this is a 9 out of 10 at the very least.
Let's see. Does it deserve any bump up from a 9? This was a heavy politics episode. Only politics. Pretty much. Other than the Jamie and Ned fight.
It was heavily politicking. But I don't know how much higher than a 9 I could comfortably go.
I think 9's good. 9 felt good. Because 92595, that's, I don't know. Enjoyment. That's, that's like, I'm thinking of a 10. I know for sure. Battle of the Bastards, that's a 10. Enjoyment. That's like, oh my God. I don't walk away from this episode going like, oh my God.
Right.
But I walk away being like, okay, this is Game of Thrones. And I think that's enough.
And that speaks to the genre. I think this might be a 10.
Fantasy?
Fantasy, just what we know Game of Thrones to become. This is everything. This is what you want from a Game of Thrones episode. If I'm speaking for myself.
I mean, there is the fan base that would maybe say that this is a very boring episode.
But you even get Ned versus Jamie at the end there, man. I don't know.
True. Yeah, this is.
You open the episode with the fucking joust where the Mountain cuts off a horse's head and then fights the Hound.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Mountain versus Hound, Jamie versus Ned, Robert and Ned going at it. Ned resigning,
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. This is
Okay.
a Game of Thrones episode right here.
Okay. Yeah. 10 out of 10 there. I feel it. Okay, here. What was the
This
complete story for this episode?
Ned's
Ned.
investigation leading
Yeah.
him to it's kind of a twofold. Tyrion being taken to the Vale while Ned gets accused of taking him there. Jamie has to go and see him out.
I guess it really wasn't like the writing of this episode. That would be like where I'd say like was the best thing I pull out. It'd be like the performances or like I don't know, it's not like they had to write anything super. I don't know what I'm looking for. Like I'm not saying it's bad writing. It's just
Right.
not that they didn't have to reach very far. It's like, yeah, these things are just happening, like we just need these sort of things to happen. These conversations to be had.
I get you.
But a
Do you think?
conversation.
I was going to ask, do you think this is the best episode of the season so far?
Yeah, that's without a doubt. So I mean, the floor is 8-5, at least on our scale so far. But then there's scenes like with Cersei and Robert, where it's like that's just a conversation, but holy shit, is
There's
it like
Ned's resignation. There's
yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm at like
there's Varys and Littlefinger in the throne room. Like there's
I
all
think
sorts of
9's
scenes.
the floor, and maybe the 9 is just where I'm at.
I think
Maybe like
my
9,
floor
9
was
to
my floor was 8.75. I'm
okay.
perfectly comfortable with a 9.
I think 9 is kind of where I'm at. I think
All right.
because
All right.
averages it out to a mix 93.3.
Yes, that is a
Let's see.
93%, which
Okay.
is the highest rated of the season so far for us by half a point, which is nothing to scoff at. On IMDb, The Wolf and the Lion gets a 9 out of 10 straight up. Matches up with our critical rating, rather satisfactory.
Getting there on Game of Thrones on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is a disaster.
It's always a little convoluted to get there, but we're at episode 5, The Wolf and the Lion. It was given a 95%.
Look at that. Look at that.
So
we're finding ourselves right there in between the Rotten Tomatoes and the IMDb here with a 93. Mm-hmm. So I really, really dig where this ended up. It's a fucking great episode, and like, on IMDb? It is the fifth. It is fifth in its in rating. At
fifth of all time?
No, in this season.
And is it every episode after that's
There's
better,
only one episode after that is not above it.
Wow.
Every other one is rated higher than this one. So we are in for a great rest of the season here. In Winter is Blooming. I'm so glad we're doing this rewatch. We're officially halfway through season 1 already. And I'm having a great fucking time. Hopefully Tavares will be back with us next week for episode 6, A Golden Crown, where we can finally say goodbye to Viserys Targaryen the second. Thank God.
I can't wait.
I'm so ready. But yeah, man. With that, I think we conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoRoBloom, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including comic book pull lists, and we actually are about to do a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special review. It'll be our first addition into the Comics Bloomiverse Patreon exclusive side of things, where we'll be covering new specials and movies going forward from the MCU or DCU, all there on patreon.com/CoRoBloom. So go check that out for me. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast, follow on Hive at PennyBloomPod, and on Tumblr at PennyBloomPod. Leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you are listening, and remember to share us with a friend. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes, and I'll impregnate the bitch.